everyone, my name is Amaka and you're welcome to the Dama Stitches. In this tutorial, you're going to be learning how to make this circle dress you're seeing on the thumbnail. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please click on the subscribe button and also turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload new videos. So let's get started. So the front part of this dress is going to have buttons. So I'm going to mark 1.5 inches for the button allowance. So now I'm going to take the vertical measurement. So her bust point is 10 inches. Her bust point is 10 inches, while her waist point is 17 inches. Plus half-inch seam allowance, which I'm going to use to join the upper part to the lower part. So half-inch seam allowance. Now I'll extend the points. 10 inches, 17 inches plus half-inch seam allowance. So I'll connect the points. I'm going to take the neck measurement. Now the front neck width is 3 inches and the front neck depth is 7 inches. Front neck depth is 7 inches. And I'll connect the points. Now, I'm going to take the shoulder measurement. Her shoulder measurement is 14 inches. 14 divided by 2 gives you 7 inches. Plus half-inch seam allowance gives you 7.5 inches. Now, from this 7.5 inches, I'm going to come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant. And I'll connect this point to the neckline. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to impute the armhole measurement. Half of her armhole measurement is 8.5 inches. So I'm going to mark 8.5 inches here. So I'll connect this point to this point. So I'm going to extend this point to this point. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to find the midpoint of this line. Now this is the midpoint of this line. So from this midpoint, I'm going to go in by 3/4. And I'll connect now here on this point. Now this is the chest point. Let me label these lines. This is the chest point. This is the bust point. This is the waist point, and this is the seam allowance. So now on the chest point, I'm going to mark 1/4 of her bust circumference. Her bust circumference is 42 inches. 42 divided by 4 gives you 10.5 inches. So I'm going to mark 10.5 inches here. So I'll connect this point to this point and this point to this point. Just like this. Now take note, every measurement I'm taking it from this line. I'm not taking it from here. I'm taking it from here because this is my button allowance. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to impute my dart. Now for me to do that, I'm going to be working with her nipple to nipple measurement. Her nipple to nipple measurement is 8.5 inches. 8.5 divided by 2 gives you 4 1/4. So I'm going to mark 4 1/4 here. And I'll mark 4 1/4 here. And I'll connect these points with a straight line. Now the next thing I'm going to do, now from the bust point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. I'm going to mark 1 inch. And on this point, I'm going to mark ½ inch on both sides of this line. So I'll mark ½ inch here, and I'll mark ½ inch here. I'll mark ½ inch here, and I'll mark ½ inch here. So I'll connect the points. On the waist point, I'm going to take the waist measurement on the waist point. Now her waist circumference is 34 inches. 34 divided by 4 gives you 8.5 inches. So I'm going to mark 8.5 inches here. And I'm going to mark it here. Plus 1 inch for this dart. I'm returning this 1 inch for this dart. So I'll connect the points. Now I'm going to add my seam allowance. I'm working with 1.5 inches seam allowance. I'll cut it. So I'll cut the back. Now this is the front panel. I'll cut the back. Okay, I'm going to draw a starting point, which is also going to serve as my shoulder line. Now, the back panel. Now, if you look at that dress, you see that the dress has 2 side pockets. So for that reason, I'm going to use zipper. I'm going to use back zipper allowance. Despite the fact that the front also has buttons, but I'm still going to use. I'm going to put zipper at the back. Now, if not for the button, the 2 side pockets, I would have used a side zip. But because of the 2 side pockets, I'm going to put zip at the back. So now I'm going to mark half. I'm going to use 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance. The back neck width is 3 inches, and the back neck depth is 1 inch. And I'll connect the points. Now the shoulder measurement is 14 inches. 14 divided by 2 gives you 7 inches, plus ½ inch seam allowance gives you 7.5 inches. So I'm going to mark 7.5 inches here. And from this point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant. And I'll connect this point to the neckline. Now from this point, I'm going to mark half of the armhole measurement. Now half of her armhole measurement is 8.5 inches. And I'll connect this point to this point. Now I'll extend this point to this point, and I'll extend this point to this point. So now the waist. So this is the chest point. Now her waist point, shoulder to waist point is 17 inches. So I'm going to mark 17 inches here, plus ½ inch seam allowance. 17 inches plus ½ inch seam allowance. And I'll connect the points. So now, to impute the armhole curve, I'm going to find the midpoint of this line. Now this is the midpoint of this line, and I'm going to now on the chest point. I'm going to mark her bust circumference divided by bust measurement divided by 4. So her bust circumference is 42 inches. 42 divided by 4 gives you 10.5 inches. So I'm going to mark 10.5 inches here. And I'll connect this point to this point. So now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to impute my dart. So half of her nipple to nipple measurement is 4 1/4. So I'm going to mark 4 1/4 here, and I'll mark 4 1/4 here, and I'll connect the points. So from the chest point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch, and on the waist point, I'm going to mark, and I'll connect this point to this point and this point to this point. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to eliminate the zipper bulge. To eliminate the zipper bulge, I'm going to mark 1 inch from here, and I'll connect it to this point. So now I'm going to create a new zipper allowance. So from this point, I'm going to mark 1 inch. To create a new zipper allowance, I'm going to mark 1 inch from here, and I'll connect this 1 inch to this point. So this part is no longer useful to me. I'm going to cut it off. I'll cut off this part. So I'm going to take the waist measurement on the waist point. Now the waist circumference I'm working with is 34 inches. 34 divided by 4 gives you 8.5 inches. So I'm going to mark 8.5 inches here. Now take note. Look, I'm taking my measurement from here, not from here. I'm taking my measurement from here. Okay, let me put my tape this way so that you will understand better. I'm taking my measurement from here. So I'm going to mark 8.5 inches. The waist circumference is 8.5 inches. So this is 8.5 inches. 8.5 inches plus 1 inch for that. I'm returning this dart intake. This zipper bulge, this thing I'm going to cut off here, I'm also returning it. So now I'm going to connect this point to this point. Now my seam allowance is 1.5 inches. So I'll add my shoulder seam allowance, half-inch shoulder seam allowance. So I'll cut it. Now we are going to cut the lower part of the skirt, and for us to do that, we'll have to find the waist radius, because the lower part is going to be a full circle. Now, so this is what we are going to do. Now the waist circumference is 34 inches. The waist circumference is 34 inches plus zipper allowance, 1.5 inches zipper allowance. And you know what, the 1.5 inches zipper allowance on both sides of the back panel gives you 3 inches. That is 1.5 divided times 2 gives you 3 inches. Plus the side seam allowance. The side is going to have joining because of the pockets. So each of the sides have 2 inches seam allowance. And we need 2 inches seam allowance on each side. So that gives you 4 inches. 2 times 2. 2 times 2 gives you 4 inches. So 34 plus 3 inches gives you 37 inches. 37 plus 4 inches gives you 41 inches. equal to 41 inches. So the waist circumference we are working with is 41 inches. The waist circumference in total is 41 inches. Now, what we are going to do now, to find the radius, to find the waist radius, we are going to divide 41 by 6.28. Now, 6.28 is the formula for full circle. I have a tutorial on how to make a 180-degree circle, 360-degree circle, and 720-degree circle. I'm going to leave the link of that tutorial in the description box below so that you can check it out later. Now, the waist circumference is 41 inches. 41 divided by 6.28 gives you 6.5. So now the waist radius we are working with is 6.5 inches. Now for the length, the full length of the dress is 39 inches. Now you're going to minus the upper part from the full length. The upper part is 17 inches. So 39 minus 17 inches gives you 22 inches. 22 inches. Now 22 inches plus 1.5 inches seam allowance. 1.5 inches seam allowance gives you 23.5 inches. So what we are going to, the lower part of our dress that we are going to cut now is 23.5 inches. And I'll fold it again. So now I've folded it into 2, so I'm folding it again into 4. So I've folded it into 4. Now the waist radius is 6.5 inches. So I'm going to mark 6.5 inches. From this point, I'm going to mark 6.5 inches. Now from here, I'm going to mark 23.5 inches. So this is our 23. These are 23.5 inches. So now to get a perfect circle, I'm going to take this up and start my measurements from here, from this point. What I have here is 30 inches. So I'm going to rotate this 30 inches to that point. That is, from here to here is 30 inches. From here to here is 30 inches. That's why I'm rotating 30 inches. So the next thing I'm going to do is to add my seam allowance, the waist seam allowance. So I'm using 1/2 inch seam allowance. So this is the one I'm going to cut. Now when I cut here, when sewing, I'm going to sew on this line. So this is the this is it. This is the circle. I'll cut this into 2. One is going to be the front panel and the other one is going to be the back panel. Now the back panel, I'm still going to fold the back panel into 2 and cut it again. So I'll cut this one. So we are going to stop here for today. I don't want this video to be too long. So just watch out for the part 2 of this tutorial. If you found this tutorial helpful, please click on the like button, share this video with your friends, share this video in your sewing groups. Subscribe to my channel if you've not done so. Feel free to ask questions. I'll be in the comment section to answer all your questions. We've come to the end of this tutorial. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.